One of the most definitive relationships in the Star Wars prequel trilogy, the dynamic between Anakin Skywalker and Master Mace Windu, was one of many, but arguably one of the most preventable deciding factors to Anakin's ultimate fall to the dark side and embrace of the Vader persona. So come along with us, weary travelers of the galaxy, as we explore the mythos and pages of Star Wars canon, and even some theory while discussing why Mace Windu seemed to dislike Anakin to the point of near hatred, and the real reason behind the relationship between Windu and the Chosen One Anakin Skywalker, and the resentment that they both held for one another. Let's take an in-depth look on why Mace Windu hated Anakin. We have a few options and perspectives to consider, and there is a high possibility that it could be all of them at the same time. Let's start by getting the obvious one out of the way. Mace Windu outright stated in Revenge of the Sith that he did not trust Anakin. Ever since Anakin arrived at the Jedi Temple as a young child, Mace Windu was very speculative about his presence, and was weary of the young boy. He, along with Master Yoda and the other members of the Jedi Council, could sense Anakin's longing for his mother, and how frightened he was. Windu was careful to believe in ancient prophecies, especially regarding the fabled Chosen One. This is likely due to his decisive way of thinking, as the galaxy was right on the verge of turmoil, and it had been just revealed that the Sith were not as dead as the Jedi had thought. If the Jedi went jumping at every small inclination of ancient prophecy, then it would erupt in disorder. Windu was strongly against Anakin being trained because of his age and all the problems it would bring with him. Younglings were typically inducted into the order as infants, and would learn to grow up without attachments. Ultimately though, his decision would be overturned in favor of honoring Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn's dying wish. It was here that Windu's resentment for the young Skywalker was truly born, and the fire was kindled. Later in life, as the Chosen One grew in both power as well as age, so did Windu's distaste for the young boy. This was now because of Anakin's lack of respect and blatant disregard for Jedi protocol. Time and time again, Anakin Skywalker chose his own path, his own mission, somehow turning every diplomatic mission into a combat exchange. To understand their divide, we first must understand their characteristics. Anakin was a very unorthodox Jedi Knight. From his black robes to his more aggressive fighting style choice, he stuck out amongst his fellow guardians of peace. More often than not, he chose to deal with his problems with his lightsaber first, which is obviously against what the Jedi ultimately should stand for. It is a possibility that Windu may have seen Skywalker as an embarrassment of the Jedi Order, spitting in the face of all that they stood for and projecting a false image to the public at large. This perspective though would change somewhat during the Clone Wars, when Anakin's competency in battle was proven time and time again. So many times in fact that Windu couldn't ignore it, and did eventually garner a certain respect for the Chosen One. But just because Anakin had Windu's respect doesn't mean that he had his trust. This trust was always being tested between the two of them, and it ultimately came head to head whenever Palpatine chose to appoint Anakin Skywalker as his representative to sit upon the Jedi Council. Windu likely saw this as a bold ploy by the Senate to encroach their influence within the Jedi Order. In direct contrast, Mace Windu was on the straight and narrow, a standing symbol of what a Jedi were intended to be, in service of the Republic, or at least what the Jedi were intended to be of this era, quite possibly also representing all the Jedi's shortcomings within one individual. Windu was a stickler to the code, rigid and never bending to the left or right with any situation. An ironic choice of character traits given that this is a person who wields a purple amethyst blade, symbolizing his balance between the light and the dark. Mace Windu had recognized a long time ago that he had a great darkness within him. Rather than give into it, he harnessed it and understood its place within him as an individual. His amethyst lightsaber, being a mix of blue and red, outwardly made a statement that his stance in the Force was set. He had darkness, yes, but was firmly rooted within the light. He would further explore this with his invention of the variation of the seventh form of lightsaber combat, Vapad. Juyo, the traditional seventh form, relied on unpredictable strikes and utilized one's own inner dark side to fuel their blade. Vapad wasn't so much a different style as it was a different mindset. It focused on using your opponent's dark side against them. In doing so, you would be bringing yourself to the very edge, but stop there. It was a dangerous and a risky form for a Jedi to practice, as it flirted with the dark side so intensely. One such unfortunate Jedi to fall to the dark side due to this form was Windu's former friend and colleague, Sora Bulk. Sora Bulk had helped Mace Windu develop Vapad, but through some circumstance ultimately turned to the dark side. He challenged Windu to a lightsaber duel to decide the true master of their form, with Windu coming out on top. he was forever careful to teach Vapad to any other Jedi. Anakin too had darkness within him, but rather than take the time to teach and help him hone this, Windu lived in fear due to what happened with Sora Bulk. As stated in the novelization for Revenge of the Sith, Mace Windu stated that he believed that Anakin Skywalker's power was growing far too quickly for the Jedi to manage, or for the young boy to manage, and that he was not disciplined enough to control his raw potential in the Force. His fear kept him from even trying with Anakin, so instead he built up a cold resentment to him and tried to do what he could to keep him down, so that maybe Anakin could slow down and mature before first becoming the rank of Master. This is possibly why he denied him this rank, which was one of the biggest stepping stones that shattered Anakin's belief in the Council. Another perspective I would like to explore for a moment is the theory that Mace Windu was actually jealous of Anakin being the Chosen One. As it was stated, the Chosen One was destined to bring balance to the Force. Windu himself had already achieved balance between the light and dark within himself, and so he reasonably thought that perhaps he could do so with the galaxy at large, and could actually be the Chosen One. And then, all of a sudden, a boy from Tatooine shows up out of nowhere with Qui-Gon claiming him to be the Chosen One of ancient prophecy. It could be assumed that this jealousy and lack of trust in Anakin is what drove him to rush off to face Palpatine before consulting the Council. He was eager to prove that he was the rightful Chosen One, and the one to bring an end to the Sith. Once he arrived, he quickly discovered that he had grossly underestimated the power of the soon-to-be Emperor Palpatine. Once he defeated Palpatine, he once again placed him under arrest when Anakin showed up to stop him. It was only then did he see his plan change, and he ultimately decided to kill Sidious. He changed these plans when he saw the hold that Sidious had over Anakin, when the desperate Skywalker made a plea for the Chancellor's life. Perhaps it was this moment that he decided that he was going to end things once and for all in order to solidify his place as the real Chosen One within his own mind. He was so blinded by this that he didn't even see it was Anakin's betrayal that was coming. His fear and arrogance cost him the lives of 3 Jedi Masters, possibly himself, and the fate of the entire galaxy at large. When concerning Anakin, of course, his resentment for Mace Windu is clear. Skywalker believed himself to be the most powerful Jedi alive during the period of Revenge of the Sith. This hubris was fueled by Palpatine, who even outright stated on several occasions that he believed that Anakin was the superior to Master Yoda, but more than this, was the superior to Mace Windu, that he was wiser than Mace Windu and even more experienced. A clear fallacy, of course. Nonetheless, this is what Palpatine placed within the young Skywalker's mind. The resentment that Skywalker held for Mace Windu was so powerful as the Clone Wars raged on. Skywalker was able to win more battles and was involved in more battlefield engagements, even taking over Mace Windu's original clone battalion in the 501st Legion. Skywalker was the hero of the Clone Wars, as he believed that the Jedi Council sat back and watched him achieve countless victory after countless victory. What made Anakin Skywalker more angry than anything is that Windu believed that he may not actually be the Chosen One, despite Anakin proving himself again and again. Windu believed that there was still doubt, and that the prophecy could have been misread, and while Skywalker was still a powerful Jedi, Mace Windu still disregarded Anakin and refused to acknowledge Skywalker as his equal, with the lightsaber, with the Force, or as a Jedi. So friends, what are your thoughts concerning Windu's reasoning about giving Anakin the cold shoulder? And do you agree with our theory? And if not, comment down below your personal thoughts regarding their relationship. And as always, may the Force be with you and have a great day.